All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. This is Matt and
James. How are we today?
Good. And today, what we are going to talk about is the different types of structures, sales structures that you need to have in your business to either achieve a mid-six to high 6-7-figure income from commissions, or have a successful 6 to 7-figure sales business in general. Mm-hmm. These are different ways that you can structure your calls, the process, different metrics you can track in order to ensure that you are getting all the information, you're protecting your sales reps from too many headaches, and you're getting as many qualified prospects through to the end as possible.
If you listen to this podcast, you will make your first million within 3 years. I'm going to repeat that. You will make $1 million within 3 years of the first episode you listen to. We don't want pikers. We're not here to save the manatees. We're here to make podcasts. You really want this. You listen and review.
Put that coffee down.
So first thing we'll just talk about is the standard 2-call close, which is a super common high ticket sales tactic. There are a couple different ways to do this. A 2-call close is where basically you're not trying to pitch and close on the first call. Yeah. So you have an intentional system and structure set up so that you have the ability to nurture them over a little bit longer of a process. So you can build the trust and you can essentially sift through who you think is a good fit for the business.
Yeah. Not to be confused with not selling them on the first call because you couldn't and did a follow-up and got them back. That's not a 2-call close. It's not structured to be that way, but you still can do it.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a structured 2-call close. Essentially, the reason why you do it a lot of the time is one, the first call is a bit more of a spaghetti method. So if you're just getting like a shitload of leads through and they're all booking calls and they're not the greatest quality or they're not good fits for your business or they're just not, don't allow people to book 45 minutes to an hour in your diary. Yep. That's crazy towns. Just book 20-minute calls and you can do 3 of them in an hour. And you can bang through it. So somebody no-shows, if you have a high no-show rate, it's a good way to do it it's a good way to, like, if you have a good lead flow, but your funnels are relatively unproven or untested. Yeah. And then or you just have a funnel like a lead magnet funnel where it's super easy to get leads and then you have a good appointment funnel that does after that. So you have an abundance of people that are coming through, but there's not really very many quality control measures. Yep. Your marketing is not disqualifying people.
Yeah. And just be aware for the people that are listening, when we refer to a 2-call close, it's pretty well known in this industry as like you do a pre-qual call, then a sales call, pre-qual being step 1, sales call being step 2, the other 2 closes, or it's also known as a triage method.
Or a discovery call, triage, whatever you want to call it. And then we call sales calls strategy sessions for some reason.
Because we're doing strategy. It's less sales resistance.
It is. Yeah. I made a funny meme the other day, and it was that Drake one where it's like this, and then like that, and it was like sales call strategy session.
Yes.
I can just see people sitting around a boardroom being like, let's not call it a sales call, let's call it a strategy session. And everyone just goes wild in the boardroom.
Yeah. I'd say like in some Tucky Moore or Sam Ovens course or something, they've come up with that name and therefore pretty much every business coach goes down that path and uses that same name because someone out there decided that was better and everyone followed suit.
Yeah. I even heard it on the radio the other day. There's a radio ad for a marketing company, a digital marketing company on radio saying that like, hey, book in for a strategy session. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy to me that a digital marketing agency is using radio ads and then trying to book to a strategy session from a radio ad. I just don't see that ever working.
Well, you remembered it, so it's working to some degree.
I remembered it because it was fucking stupid. Like, it's like I'm gonna forget it by the time I got in my car. Like, I don't remember what they were called. No, but I don't know what they were called. I just know there is a digital marketing agency in Perth that has a radio ad where they try and book. I have no way of actioning that.
If that's you, reach out because I'm curious to know the ROI and how many book calls you've got through that.
I'm sure they'll tell us it's amazing. Yeah. So Anyway, so strategies. So two cold close. So yeah, the reason why I like to use it is because it saves the mental headspace of the closer, the person closing the deals. Because man, there's nothing worse than having like if you had 40 sales calls booked into your diary. Let's say that they were just booking straight to sales call, and you had like a 40% no show rate. Man,
10 hours.
that's 10, 15 hours just out of your diary gone. That's very difficult to be productive in that time, and it just gets you down. And then if let's say because it's straight to sales call, they're not being disqualified. You're right there.
Just moving the mic.
Okay. Let's say that you have a 40% no-show rate. It's like 10, 15 hours of people that aren't going to come. And then you've got then a 30% unqualified rate. So now you're looking at 50, 60% of the people who are booked into your diary being totally unqualified. And let's say you have a close rate of 50%. It's like, man, from 30 hours worth of sales calls booked into your diary, you're looking at making like 4 or 5 sales.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking demoralizing. And it's just such a grind and it's so frustrating. And so that's what the triage method kind of prevents, because basically you can just fill that person up with like 60, 70 triages a week. And then it's fine, because if you're doing say 15 or 20 minutes, I think 20 minutes is probably the best, 20 to depending on the quality, but 20 minutes is a good length. You can bang out 3 an hour. So you can do 3 hours of triages. You've done 9. If you do that every single day, you're going to do 45 triages a week. That's enough to sort of sift through to probably get 12 to 15 sales calls. If the show up rate is good. And then from let's say you book 15, 12 show up and you sell 8. That's a good week. And you've been the master of your own destiny in terms of like who you put through. Yep. So if you have a massive abundance of triages, it means that you can be quite picky with who you put through. So you're going to have a high close rate, and you're going to only be speaking to good prospects. And if you don't have an abundance, then you can just whack everyone through to a sales call and hope for the best.
So close rates will probably be lower, but more opportunity means more potential income.
Exactly. Which is right. Close rate is not really a very good metric to run a business off. It's definitely a metric that I think is important to track. However, I had this conversation the other day, and they were like, oh no, but these guys are doing it this way, and they have an 80% close rate, and they're closing 15 people a week into this high ticket. And
yeah, but that's them.
I said, first of all, that's them, because it was a very big name. And I said, but are they tracking offers made? And they went, yeah, why does that matter? I go, okay. Offers made, and this is a controversial subject, and I would like this cut into a segment. Offers made is a bullshit metric that is propagated by people who have ego problems.
Mm-hmm. To make their conversion rates seem higher, therefore protect their ego and fragileness, basically.
To make them feel better about themselves as salespeople and business owners, because the marketer can say, our leads are so good, we have an 80% close rate. My sales guys, I'm such a good closer, I have a 90% close rate. Hey, listen, it is possible to close at 90%. Marco last week closed at, I think, almost 100%. He had like 9 sales of over 20K programs. I think he closed at 90%. Not offers made, total calls that showed up in his fucking diary.
Just on that, you can even take it one step further and base your conversion rate off the amount of sales calls booked in, provided you're doing that triage method. Because if they didn't show up to the sales call,
it's your fault.
That's your fault. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I can't get on a fucking angry rant. Angry rant time. Cue the music. Offers made really pisses me off, because it puts a totally unrealistic expectation on closers who don't understand it and business owners who don't understand. Like, I never used to mind it until we had a guy come into the business who was running an offers made thing, and everyone said he was a fucking savage. And I listened to the calls, and they were average at best. And then every single time he got someone who he thought he couldn't close, he just wouldn't offer. Every single time. And I was like, what a bullshit metric. So a salesperson just goes, nah, man, like I closed at 95% this week. I closed at 100%.
But I didn't pitch these guys because I didn't think I could overcome it. It's like, so why didn't you just man up?
Yeah, I closed at 100% of everyone I offered, right? I had 25 calls. I made 3 sales. Oh, sick. You closed at 100%. You fucking savage. It's like, no. Pitch everyone that isn't an asshole. If the business can help them, I don't care. Overcoming objections is your job.
Yep.
So many people feel like they're going to get an objection, and they just go, no offer. I'm not going to offer this guy. I pull, if I hear that shit, I do not allow no offers. I will lose. It's like one of the only things that I will actually get upset over is if one of the guys is like, oh, I pulled the offer. Or I didn't offer this person. Like, why not? Let me listen to that call. Because chances of us getting on a sales call with someone, if the person is not a fit, not in the niche, they shouldn't have been on the call. We can figure that out in the first 5 to 10 minutes. So in order for there to be a no offer, 5-10 minutes tops, you have to go, hey man, I don't think we can help you. Hang up the phone. You don't get 40 minutes into a fucking call, do the entire pitch, and then go, nah, because you don't think you're going to close them. Oh man, it's such a bullshit metric. And it's the people who do that are never going to, in my opinion, are never going to make anywhere near as much money as what they could, because the amount of your ego is literally stopping you from making money. It is incredible how stupid that metric is. I would love to debate somebody.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to debate somebody.
The only time I somewhat consider accepting that is if you went through that call and then as it got to the pitch, they just started becoming like rude, arrogant, asshole-ish.
It's like, so rare though.
Yeah, it's like this person shouldn't be a client because they're going to be a handful when it comes to the objection part. Because some people are like, yeah, cool, love it. And then when it comes to becoming an objection and they want to give you objections, they turn into assholes. But in saying that,
it's probably your fault as being a shitty salesperson. Yeah. Like, reframe them, do your job. If the business can help them, they should be pitched, in my opinion. And if they're not an asshole, like obviously. But man, the amount of times, and I reckon in Sales Sniper, like we don't track offers made because again, I think it's a bullshit metric. The amount of time that I hear, oh, I didn't offer somebody, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. And that's of like, we have a lot of accounts. We do a lot of sales calls. Like
it doesn't happen
so
often.
Rare. Yeah. It's so rare. And that's not because we're sleazy salespeople that just want to sell everybody. It's just like, well, no, because we're good at sales. And so like we want opportunity.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we did nearly $1 million in sales last week.
We're also qualifying quite hard. So, disqualifying people on our triages and stuff to make sure that they're a right fit so that when people go through to a sales call, they're going through because they do tick all the boxes and they are a good fit for that company. Now, the only times we don't put people through, even if they don't tick all the boxes, meaning we'll put through someone to a sales call that isn't qualified on every aspect, time, finances, decision maker, is if there's been an issue with the marketing, lead flow is low, therefore there's a lack of opportunities. In those cases, we lower the standards of people that we would put through to a sales call to create opportunity. In those weeks, our close rates usually go down, but that's not an issue if the sales are still coming in. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's that's why having good data and having like a process that you understand is so important, because it's not as simple. I used to talk to business owners all the time, be like, okay, just so you know, our close rate's going to be shit next week. Why? I was like, because we put everyone through, because your lead flow is a third of what it should have been.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out how to make opportunities, because we don't run our business on ego. I'm more than happy to go to the sales guys and go, hey guys, how's the lead flow? If they're like, oh, lead flow is really low, then we go, okay, that's fine. Let's just put everybody through who we think we can help. That's the important part. Just because they're not financially qualified, who cares? We don't know. That person could have a fucking trust fund that we don't know about. Like, it's not up to us to decide who can and who cannot afford a program. It's up to the prospect to decide if they can afford it. And then it's just up to us to show them the way that what we sell actually helps them. And if they see the cost benefit, Marco, he has people sign up for credit cards at least once a week so they can afford these programs, because we sell for good operators. That's the thing.
And so the difference between those weeks where we have lower conversion rates and higher conversion rates is purely the intention to put people through that we wouldn't otherwise, the intention to only allow the best people through because we've got a chockers week and we only have X spaces available to take sales calls. Therefore, those spaces should be filled up with the best prospects. Otherwise, we'll push them to another week, put them into a follow-up sequence and come back to them in a couple of weeks when they are in a better position to be one of those best prospects.
Yeah, it's an issue of abundance. If you have the abundance, then be picky. If you don't, whack them through. But have the discussion. Because when I used to sell full-time for a business owner, I would tell him and I go, hey, just so you know, I'm probably going to have a terrible close rate next week.
But I'll have more sales than I did last week.
Because I'm putting everyone through. And then if you come back to me and say, why is your close rate only 20% last week? I'll be like, is it a mindset issue? I go, no, mate, I told you that. I told you, like, I'm putting garbage people through. I'm putting people, not garbage, it's a rough way to put it, but that's just how I term it. I put people who I would never put through because fuck it, you never know. You just never know. I'm good at what I do. If I have a consistent process that anyone who's anywhere near qualified will sign 70% of the time, then that guy might just go, fuck it, I'm in. And like, what am I doing? I can either sit on my ass and watch Netflix during that hour, or I can get after it. I can try and make some money.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
It's different.
And that's why, man, the closer community is broken with ego. It's comical.
It's like carbon copy of the fitness community.
It is broken with ego. I mean, it's incredible the amount of money that people leave on the table because they are just precious and they don't want to hurt their ego. Now, in saying that, because the counter argument to that would be, all right, if I want to be my own protagonist, is that we need to protect the mindset of salespeople, and I totally agree with that as a concept. However, it's a very easy fix. You just have the data and have the conversation, and you just have the conversation. Do you want more opportunity, or do you want a higher close rate? Which one is it?
Yeah,
because a higher close rate makes you feel better. More opportunity makes you more money. Are you happy with having a lower close rate and not using that as a metric that you measure yourself off? Or do you measure yourself of how much commission you make?
Yeah.
Because for me personally, I don't really give a fuck what my close rate is. Over the last 3 months, it's 80.55%. Just if everybody wants to know, I'll throw my big sales dick on the table with 160K cash collected, which again is another metric we'll go into as a structure that you should be tracking more than contract value. But like, I know me, I want opportunity. I want opportunity to sell as much as possible to as many people as possible, because the opportunity is what will allow me to have the consistent income.
So to go back on track to the actual structures, right? What are the major differences, and how do you adjust like a sales call in terms of the aspects and what you do through it on a 1 call close compared to a 2 call close?
It depends on the account. I feel it depends on what you're selling.
Let's just call it a ROI based off a 10,000.
Yeah,
I guess.
So what we run with at the moment is we do a 20 to 25 minute triage and then a 25 to 30 minute sales call. That's what we've been doing at the moment. And but that's because that's on very qualified accounts where we know we have good leads and we know we have that. If it's an unqualified account, we do a 15-minute triage. They're two totally different processes. So I would say one is established quality account. The other one is like a new or like spaghetti method type account, right? Okay. So the one that's a more quality, like very high quality of lead that comes through, the 25-minute triage is designed to pull all the pain points and get all the way through to the presentation stage. And then you stop at the presentation stage and you book the next call. The next call is a recap, a present, pitch, and close. That's it. It's super simple. So basically you're leaving them on a cliffhanger. You've exposed every problem. You've future-paced them out. You've gotten them ready. They want to change. And then you go, okay, man, let's go ahead and book another call. So they're just like, for lack of a better term, just gagging for it by the time they get to the sales call, right? And then we send them some stuff in between. We send them a bit of homework. We send them a presentation. And then we pitch on Zoom, share the screen, go through it, recap all the feelings, recap all the pain points, and then go back through and then show them the pillars of what we're doing, and then we objection handle and close. Yeah. Pretty simple, right?
And let's say if you're doing more of a presentation style pitch, where do you fit that in with a 1 or 2 call close? How does?
So it's on the second. Okay. So you have that in the presentation. So your pitch, you don't do it like you do like, say you have 3 pillars or whatever, or you can do that Simon Bowen model where it's like the 3 Venn diagrams. So if you can imagine a Venn diagram with 3 intersecting circles, the middle is where you have everything. And then if you only have 2 of them, you're missing a key component. So you need all 3 of those circles to intersect, and that's what your program is. And then on the outside of that, you have all these sections of where like these are all the things that each pillar composes of. And you need all of them, and you need it all to work cohesively so that you can actually get the outcome. That's kind of how you do it with that model. So you can just do 3 pillars of a bridge. I mean, it's fucking simple.
So most cases,
if you don't have one pillar, it falls over.
Yeah, right. So in most cases, you do a phone call for the triage, Zoom call, face to face for
I think it just depends.
Strategy.
Definitely do a Zoom call for the strategy session. I think it really clears things up. Plus, you can record them really easily. You don't have to ask permission because it's there in the corner. You can then share that with them, and then you can have that for prosperity. You can share your screen, take them through the contract, the terms. It makes it very clear. It's very hard for then someone to dispute what you said when you can just send them the Zoom recording.
Mm-hmm. Better make sure what you're saying is correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I find that 99 times out of 100, it's the prospect's fault. If there's a mismatch between what they get and what they've been sold, it's almost always like
they understand it poorly. They understand it the way
they just make shit up.
Yeah.
They just make shit up. When you said coaching, you said one-on-one coaching. No, I didn't.
I said coaching.
I said coaching. That's it. They're like, oh, I thought it was one-on-one. But down here it says group. And you sign that.
Yeah.
And
we showed
talked about it.
Yeah.
It's they're almost always, they're just fucking like, oh, okay. They're just not listening or they're whatever. Yeah. They just forget. That's why eyewitness testimony doesn't mean anything. You know, like it's the least powerful form of evidence.
That's not true. I saw Bigfoot.
What's that?
That's not true. I saw Bigfoot.
Exactly. You saw a Bigfoot. I saw a video the other day on Facebook. It was a guy sucking his missus' toes at a stoplight, just going to town. It was horrendous. Anyway,
sounds like a little Brisbane Broncos.
He was like that with the toes. It was crazy. Anyway, she was just casually checking her phone. It was so weird. But anyway, and then the other structure is that 15 and 45. So you have a 15-minute pure pre-qualification. Like all you're looking to do. That's the Tucky Moore method. It's nowhere near as good. But I can see why people do it. It creates a much lower conversion rate to sales call because it creates far more sales pressure. But if you're doing like lead magnet stuff, I mean, you just get 60, 70, 80, 100 leads a week. You just, unless you have a pre-qualification team that's going out there, it's very difficult to sort of, and that's what a lot of these coaches do. They just do they just chuck money at Facebook and then the spaghetti goes against the wall, whatever sticks. There's not a lot of content retargeting, repurposing, nurturing going on. It's just more like cold traffic getting on a call. That's sort of what that's for. So you just do like a hard 15-minute, 15 questions pre-qualification where you're trying to get as much information out of them as possible and figure out if you can help. If you can, you book them through to a sales call. If you don't, you don't. So that's those two structures. The second one was really the black belt method, which is that Tucky Moore. I mean, I don't know if he actually invented it. I mean, I seriously doubt that he did, but it's sort of the process that those guys are taught.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the process they do in their own business. So there you go.
Yeah. So do what
they do a one call close.
Well, let's go a little bit more deeper into like phone sales, presentation type sales, stage sales, just like the main somewhat differences in how you adjust pitches. Not on super detail, just like a basic, here's how you adjust things for this type, since it keeps with the theme of the podcast.
How dare you trying to keep me on track? I think Zoom selling is the future. Mm-hmm. I think it is. I think if you can get people on Zoom or on, StreamYard or Riverside, I don't give a fuck if it's Zoom, but like a video conferencing where you can see the person, you can read them. I think your close rates go up massively because the person has way more trust. They can see you're a person. You can also share your screen. You can take them through a pitch deck, or at least you can take them through something that shows them exactly what they get in black and white in writing. For a lot of people, that is a really necessary tool. People really like to see that. They get something tangible. It's recorded. You can send it to them in the PDF. You can sign the contract through HelloSign or PandaSign, whatever you want to use. You can just put that in the chat box. They can click it. They can share their screen. They can take you through it. They can even pay using their credit card details without having to give you the credit card number. Like the amount of objections that it overcomes just being Zoom is crazy.
It almost replaces face-to-face sales. I know that I converted massively higher face-to-face, and the one real reason for that
which is very surprising, giving your face,
is body language. You can read people significantly better than what you can on a phone.
Yeah, I remember I was pitching like a 100K deal to this couple, and he was in, but she definitely wasn't. I could see that. I could see her body language. So I just ignored the guy and just pitched her, got her involved. And if that wasn't a phone, zero chance I get that sale. Zero. Because I never would have seen it. Because being quiet is one thing. Being quiet doesn't mean you're interested. Because the most skeptical people are the ones that are the most likely to buy. But I could see that she was like, she was just not into it. So that allowed me to sort of really change the tide, moving towards her and sort of figuring it out. And then I ended up opening her up, and I could see her body language change and shift. And I told some stories that aligned with what she wanted, that sort of let her at ease and let her just calm down. So she knew that I was being genuine. And then from there, they signed.
There you go. All right, then how does that change from like a stage as opposed to
on stage? Is funny because essentially, from what I know, and I'm by no means an on-stage selling expert, but really, I mean, disqualifying people, using the group dynamic, I think is super important. And again, I think selling from Zoom and room pressure, it's important. So like the way that I've seen, for example, the way that Taki sells from stage is he talks about the program the whole way through, and then he talks about how at lunch you can go to lunch or you can stay and you can hear about the program. It's only for people who want to make 100K a month in their business.
So the people
so
that
if you don't
are qualified, basically.
If you don't want to make 100K a month in your business, you're not interested in how we can do that and how we can help you do it, just leave. Everybody stand up now and leave. And then some people stand up, and he does that 3 times. I want you to stand up and I want you to leave. If you don't want to make that kind of money, I do not want you in here. And obviously it's said in a much more charismatic way, and then basically people are almost too fucking awkward to leave.
You don't want to be that person.
And then you sell the room.
Yeah, that you catch up for dinner and drinks after the event. It's like, oh, you're the guy that walked out that didn't want the money. You know what I mean?
And then you do a back of the room sale where there's like, hey, we, stand up right now, go to the back of the room and sign up. And then as soon as one person picks up, 2 people, 5 people, 20 people, everyone just wants to be one of the cool kids. So they just all go and they sign up.
Yeah,
like that's how it's done.
A lot of people, all the big names, your Dan Locks, your Grant Cardones, basically any event you go to where there's a guest speaker or multiple guest speakers like the Success Resources. Never been to one, but that's essentially what they do.
Yeah. That's what Tony always does. They do back of the room sales. They do high pressure as well, super high pressure in person selling. So if you want to do platinum partners, I know this is what I've been told by Eli. They'll basically pull people aside 15-minute individual consults and sell them to an $85,000 program. Super high pressure. Do you want to be the person you need to be to make this money? Do you want to be the person? And then because they've just done 2 days with Tony, they're all like, their heads are all over the space, and then they just get them in. But I mean, Tony obviously provides a phenomenal service. Clearly works his ass off. So it's basically it's getting people out of their own way, which is essentially what sales is, and they do it very well. And this guy's selling people into $80,000 programs USD in like 15 minutes. So he's doing something right. But so that's kind of the difference. And then selling on the phone. I mean, selling on the phone, I think, is a great method, but I think it definitely does leave you open to certain objections that are very difficult to overcome, whereas Zoom does overcome a lot of them for him. But in saying that, it's not worth doing Zoom calls if you're doing low ticket stuff. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the time and the effort to get it set up to sell like a $200 to $300 program. I mean, it's just not worth it. You just need to get on the phone and dial, because then it's just a volume and opportunity game.
More people they're going to not realize it's a Zoom call. You're going to have to schedule times to do that. Just speak to them on the phone if it's low ticket. Mm-hmm.
Smile and dial, baby. Smile and dial. That's the way to do it. But so recap from today. Offers made is a bullshit metric. If you're tracking it and you're listening to this, you have an ego problem. And I don't give a fuck what you think, because it's true. Yeah.
For reference, I don't give a fuck either.
It's funny. I'm arrogant, but I don't have an ego. I've spent the last 12 months really trying to drop the ego. My arrogance is more of a funny,
it's a playful
thing.
Arrogance.
But honestly, the moment you drop the ego, actually drop your ego, where you realize nobody should give a fuck who you are at all, ever. Nobody cares about you, your life,
and
your
why
story.
Should they? You're
Nothing.
Just another sales guy.
Why should they? You're just another sales guy. Nobody cares. And then you can really start helping people, because that will help your follow-up game massively. If you don't get mad when people no show, that really helps. It also helps your head game when you're just like, you know what, people are busy. It's cool. I'll tell you who's a great example is my dad. My dad will get cut off and he'll just go, oh, that guy must be in a hurry. That's it. He doesn't get angry because that guy didn't cut you off. He just cut the car off that you happened to be in. Like, that's it. It could have been anybody else. It has nothing to do with you. And if you think it's to do with you, it's because you're self-centered. You hit the word revolves around. Like, no one cares.
I'm not looking at it like that before.
They're like, oh, it's James in that car. Fuck that guy. I'm going to go cut him off. No, the guy's just in a massive hurry and he just wants to get somewhere and you happen to be in the way.
I have been cut off by someone before and then made it personal and then intentionally cut them off because they cut me off. Oh, yeah. That's just petty, and fun.
Yeah. It's the reason why we call you Tom Petty. Yeah. I mean, the low road's fun to take every now and then, but generally speaking, we want to try and stick to the high road.
Light the way forward with the bridges you burn. That's the way I sit.
That was my motto when I left the army. I pretty much did the whole, I don't know if you've seen Half Baked, the movie, where he's like, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, as he quits. I pretty much did that as I left the army my last day. I was like, because I figured if I burned the boats, then I would never go back. And so I told all the head brass exactly what
yeah, it's a smart move.
I couldn't go back. I burned the fucking boats. The boys thought it was hilarious. Now, mind you, I could have waited 2 years and gone back because all those guys would have been gone. But
reputation,
like the way I saw it, man, I burned that fucking boat like hard. So good fun. All right, I think that's it.
Call it if you went.
Yeah. All right, guys. Really appreciate you guys spending the time with us. What I'd like you to do is please, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, comment down below one thing that you helped. If you listen to this on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, whatever you're listening to this on, please subscribe and review. And review something specific, not like, oh, it's a great podcast. Be like, oh, I was really struggling with think about it objections, and this podcast really helped me get through it. I had a massive ego before listening to this podcast and realized if I wanted to make money,
you can say this podcast taught me to burn bridges. You do you.
Burn bridges, baby. Yeah, you just do you. But yeah, really appreciate you guys sticking all the way to the end. Hope you have a fantastic day. And go sell something to anyone, always,
thanks, guys.
Forever.
Bye.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.